should we now ourselves be sending money over to, say, Jerusalem, or to the Jews living in Israel, since this seems to be kind of this sort of end goal? Is that what we're supposed to be doing right now?
I think Paul, to go back to Galatians, Paul pits the earthly Jerusalem against the heavenly Jerusalem. And for Paul, the Jerusalem is in heaven now. And its earthly manifestation is in what he calls the Israel of God, the church. And all those who by faith in Christ, now are sons and daughters of God, are members of this Israel. And so the investment in the Jerusalem that would be important to Paul is the investment in his worldwide church, the temple where God now lives. Now, it so happens that many of his children are Christian Jews living in Jerusalem. It also so happens that many of his children who are spiritually part of the Israel of God are Arab Christians living elsewhere in the historic Promised Land. And part of investing in the heavenly Jerusalem is to invest in the church, Jew and non-Jew, in Palestine. But the larger picture is, as we bring our tribute to building the house that is the place where God dwells, we, like Old Testament Israel, do take this a similar place of being a light to the rest of the world. Israel was called to be a kingdom of priests. And that means it was Israel who was supposed to be doing sacrifices that symbolized their own, but also the rest of the world's redemption. They were to be in the temple offering up incense that was a picture of prayers going up to God to bring redemption, not just for themselves, but for the whole world as well. And we are in that same sort of position now, where our work, our prayers, our proclamation has in view God's interest in the whole of the human race. So anything that we do to care for not just our poor, but the world's poor, is a matter of being this kingdom of priests, of being the ones who are the go-between between God and his broken world, and saying, "Oh Lord, how long? Lord, have mercy." And we offer those prayers, but then we also offer those works or acts. And the writer to the Hebrews does it really kind of nicely when he talks about worship that is the fruit of lips that praise God, and the works of good that we do for people. So that's kind of a Hebrews way of saying something that Paul would be very much for.
So anytime that we're involved in caring for ourselves, caring for other believers, and especially other believers all the way around the world.
Around the world, yes.
We're kind of wrapped up in this mission to bring the wealth of the nations to God's house.
Yes, yeah, and proclaiming that the day of those who were far off have now been brought near, and the light has gone to the nations.